What if a child could go to school for 6 to 7 years and still not able to read a simple sentence? In Pakistan, this isn't a hypothetical question, it's a harsh reality for millions of children. The World Bank defines this crisis as learning poverty, a situation where a child cannot read and understand a short age-appropriate text by age of 10. Today, Pakistan has one of the highest rates of learning poverty in the world. What exactly does that mean for a child's future? And more importantly, what can we do to change it? Welcome to the Ed Dialogue, the podcast where we dive deep into the most pressing issues and innovative solutions in education. I'm your host Moiz Khan, and today's conversation is one that goes right to the heart of Pakistan's future, learning poverty. Today, we will break down what it means, why it's hitting Pakistan so hard, and how public and private organizations are fighting back with innovative edtech solutions. Expect insights into systemic changes, success stories, and practical steps we can all take to make a difference. For this, we are joined by Ms. Amina. She is the head of academics in Talimabad. With nearly a decade of experience in education sector, she is an IB certified PYP practitioner and an MEd. Currently, she is focused on researching and integrating AI into Pakistan's education landscape, blending pedagogy and technology to solve the learning crisis. Assalamu alaikum, Amna. Welcome to the Ed Dialogue.
Welcome. Assalam, Moiz. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Oh no, the pleasure is all mine, Moiz. This is really exciting. I think the setup that you're getting through, this podcast, it's amazing. The more we talk about education, the more our voices are heard, and hopefully, change starts trickling in.
Exactly, and you are most welcome. And alhamdulillah, we were able to take out some time to make this happen.
I'm really sorry
out
for
of busy schedules. Yeah. So, all right. To begin with, Amna, आप मुझे बहुत ही सादा अल्फाज में बताइएगा कि आप लर्निंग पॉवर्टी को कैसे डिफाइन करती हैं, ठीक है? और आप मुझे साथ में ये बताइएगा कि जो वर्ल्ड बैंक के कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं और अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, वो हमारे जैसे मुल्क जो है पाकिस्तान, इंडिया, श्रीलंका, बांग्लादेश मींस के मिडिल एंड लो इनकम कंट्रीज़ के लिए कैसे रेलिवेंट है?
राइट, सो सिंपली पुट, लर्निंग पॉवर्टी जो है वो ऐसे डिफाइन की जाती है कि बाय द एज ऑफ 10 a child should have basic reading and understanding comprehension skills. And what's happened is that in actuality 7 out of 10 students, only 7 are able to actually read and comprehend text. So we're talking about basic literacy and numeracy skills जो नहीं है फिलहाल. So that is what learning poverty is. It's a benchmark where you talk about how a 10-year-old should be able to read at grade level, simple reading and comprehension skills. And that is a problem.
And that matters a lot.
Absolutely. Talking about how World Bank definitions are relevant to the subcontinent, especially the lower middle to lower income countries like Pakistan, I think it's very, very important for us because for the longest time we've been colonized. And there is just so much of backtracking that has happened that at the end of the day, it's our people who have suffered the most.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, because of so many irregulated policies, basic lack of awareness about this, it's the subcontinent that suffers. We have really high population levels, and ideally, if we have so much of human resource, they should be at grade level at least, but this really sets us back. And I think what really hit us really hard was COVID. क्योंकि जहाँ लर्निंग पॉवर्टी ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट कर रही थी, कोविड ने उसको ज़्यादा एग्जैस्परेट कर दिया. एट द एंड ऑफ द डे चिल्ड्रन वर गोइंग टू स्कूल्स, देयर वाज समथिंग दैट वाज हैपनिंग, बट देन देयर वाज दिस लैग ऑफ 2-3 years, and that's just really elongated the gap even further.
All right. I will come to the subcontinent later on, but let me give you some of the statistics to look deeper into the issue. Like, for example, according to the World Bank and UNICEF reports, we have learning poverty statistics at the Sub-Saharan Africa at 89%. In the Latin America and Caribbean, it's 80%. In subcontinent South Asia, it is 77%, and we have same percentages for the Middle East and North Africa. But if you look at the East Asia, Japan and Central Asia, the learning poverty rates are quite at the lower percentage, right? So my question is that I want to understand that what factors explain these disparities?
Like I said, there are so many factors, Moiz. At the end of the day, there are multiple things that happen that are at play, and all of them, again, just exacerbate the existing problem. When we talk about the sub-Saharan countries, we talk about the Southeast Asian countries, again, we've been colonized for the longest time. The amount of mismanagement of funds, policy level wise, you talk about teachers, so you know for a fact that nurses and teachers are at an extreme shortage all over the world.
Right.
And then you come to these sort of countries where, again, because there are so many learning gaps, and in all honesty, teaching isn't the most lucrative of careers. So people would rather be more professional, or they get into more professional streams than teaching. And in these places also, teaching is unregulated.
Right.
You talk about Japan, you talk about the Western Hemisphere, you have actual licensing that has to take place. You study for it, you have to pass exams, and then you come into the classroom. Whereas in these countries that have the highest statistics for learning poverty levels, really high learning poverty levels, anybody can become a teacher. So again, the existence of human resources, but trained resources. We also have this really huge problem of out-of-school children. Why is that? Again, same, it's on a policy level. Children do not feel like they're learning too much, or they're set up for failure because there's a lot of rote learning happening. Real life skills inculcate nahi hote. Parents sochte, why should we do this? Kamayega, khayega, moving on. Because again, the socioeconomic status of these countries, more often than not, it's on the lower end.
Right.
So policies, if I could recap what I was saying, policy level, teacher training level, existing gaps within our, funding.
Yeah.
I think these play a really important factor.
All right. Comparative analysis के लिहाज पे तो आपने काफ़ी चीज़ें explain कर ली जो कि बहुत crucial है हमारे लिए. Now, if we look at the South Asia particularly, हम यहाँ पे देखते हैं कि यहाँ पे भी disparities है. जहाँ पे अगर हम यहाँ पे learning poverty के percentages देखें तो Afghanistan is standing at 93%, right? And then this is Pakistan on the 77%, Bangladesh is on 58%, India is on 56%, but Sri Lanka is on 15%. So I have two main questions here. हमारे एक जैसे problems क्या हैं? What are the mutual problems, right? और फिर वो कौन से problems हैं जो हमें बिल्कुल अलग करते हैं? हमारे issues बिल्कुल different है, हमारी जो percentage है learning poverty को बहुत ज़्यादा है. तो क्या हमारे यहाँ कुछ ज़्यादा ही pressing issues हैं?
I think जो आपने countries अभी list out की हैं, उनकी अपने specific प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, बट एक यूनानिमस जो हमें सबको अफेक्ट करता है वो, again, because you're subcontinent, you've been colonized for the longest time, there weren't enough policies in place, and there was not enough emphasis put on education. You look at Pakistan, it stands at 77%. Do you know how much we spend out of our national budget? Education पर हम कितना spend करते हैं? And it's literally peanuts. आप अगर जैसे आपने बांग्लादेश, श्रीलंका, Bangladesh or India stands at 50-something%.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka is still much lower. तो उनकी policy level पर, उनकी budgeting पर, it really does translate. जब आप पाकिस्तान के अंदर देखते हैं तो even province wise, Muiz, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You look at you look at ICT, you look at Punjab, they have like a huge spending budget, and then you look at Balochistan. Balochistan's part of our country.
I was about to ask you this question. If we little zoom in within the country, right? What's going on in our big cities versus those rural communities and marginalized areas? Why this disparity exists?
Muiz, working with Niyat at Taleemabad, something that's really come down, like I've really understood it at a deeper level, is that even big cities, the disparity between urban and rural sectors, it's insane. Because all of the spending, all of the policies, all of the trainings are focused on certain urban schools as compared to holistically. Rural schools तो वैसे ही बहुत ज़्यादा suffer करते हैं. Then you come to rural areas in themselves. Balochistan is a huge province, but it's very sparsely populated. That's one of the problems. And then you look at all of the resources that are put in there. It's absolutely insane. Again, like I said, जितनी भी spending होती है आप उनको urban sectors में लगाते हैं जिसमें teachers भी ज़्यादा trained होती हैं, उनकी resources भी बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं, उनके ऊपर efforts और interventions बहुत किए जाते हैं. Whereas rural areas जहाँ actual intervention की ज़रूरत होती है वो ज़्यादातर ignore हो जाती है. Again, I think it's more of a systemic policy level issue here.
Right. बिल्कुल जाहिर बात है कि अगर हम प्रोविंसेस के अंदर भी देखें तो हर प्रोविंस में कुछ बहुत ही पर्टिकुलर और बहुत ही डिफरेंट प्रॉब्लम्स हमें देखने को मिलेंगी. You talked about the spending, right? So we know that public spending in Pakistan has been low, right, for a number of years. But my question is that, though they affect the learning poverty to the larger scale, but the question is it about the low public spending in education, or is about being able to use that money effectively and intelligently?
I think it's a bit of both.
Right.
And it's also about prioritization. थोड़ा सा हटके है learning poverty से, but when you look at India or you look at Sri Lanka, even Bangladesh to some extent, because again उनका जो poverty gap है वो थोड़ा सा कम है as compared to Pakistan and Afghanistan. उन्होंने बहुत ज़्यादा policy level पर changes किए, education को बहुत ज़्यादा prioritize किया. तो हुआ क्या कि जो 80% of the population, they really sat, they studied, उनके ऊपर बहुत सारे interventions हुए, and then they were able to migrate out of the subcontinent. They floated more towards the Western Hemisphere. उनकी jobs, जितनी भी technical jobs हैं, the Indians are everywhere. And yes, it's a big country, I understand that, but also look at their spending and their budgeting, and look at the policy level. जो FLN की बात जहाँ हम यहाँ पाकिस्तान में अभी कर रहे हैं, all of the provinces have also come out with their policy, if I'm not mistaken. But ये सारी चीज़ें already उन जगहों पर हो रही है. We're a little late to the party. Number one. Number two, it's about at policy level, you shouldn't be very reactive. You should be able to have that forethought. So जहाँ हमने FLN की policies अभी बहुत recently निकाली हैं, in all honesty, they should have been done right after COVID. Because again, you talk about connectivity. If you look at the private schools, आप already बच्चे जो हैं वो fees दे करके आ रहे हैं. Although education should be free for everybody till age of 16. हमारे constitution में भी है, but private schools have an edge. Public schools में ये बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा issue था, और वो बच्चे भी जिस तबके से आते हैं mostly, they should have been more focused on foundational skills.
Right.
मेरी बेटी, I am a private school parent. My younger daughter, for the longest time, didn't know how to read because those really essential early years were spent at home during COVID.
All right. So, with regards to these issues, now I'm interested to know that मुल्कों की public spending तो कम होती है, but then we have to look towards the international organizations. तो फिर वहाँ पे उनका क्या role होता है? How do they support the learning goals within the countries like UN and World Bank and other IGOs वगैरह?
So I think what happens is that when our public spending is obviously so limited in terms of education, then these international organizations really help funnel in the money for targeted interventions. If you look historically at the work that UNICEF has done, in Pakistan, especially in the rural areas.
Right.
You look at the work that's being done by World Bank. They bring in the money so that there are targeted interventions at different levels so that learning gap बहुत ज़्यादा है, but at least अगर targeted spending हो, like you were talking about in the last question, कि smart spending होनी चाहिए. So these organizations help bring it in. And then you have edtech startups, you have a lot of these organizations that are already working on the ground. तो ये वाली जो funding होती है, it helps accelerate these interventions at a much faster pace.
Yeah, exactly. So this brings us to the organizations within the Pakistan, like Talimabad. Since you are from Talimabad, आप मुझे बताएंगे कि क्या तालीमाबाद में लर्निंग पॉवर्टी गैप्स को कम करने के लिए कौन से प्रोजेक्ट्स हो रहे हैं और कौन से इम्पोर्टेंट गोल्स हैं जो आप अचीव करना चाहते हैं?
So I think organizations that are working within Pakistan, the main focus is on teacher training. That is a huge gap that nobody talks about or nobody does enough about. और जितना भी आप पैसा लगाएं वो तब भी कम है. Like I said, multi-grade classrooms in Pakistan are so common. Teacher shortages are very, very real. There are minimum to no resources in public sector. मैं public sector की specifically बात कर रही हूँ. फिर organizations like Talimabad, we work with teachers so that we can help improve student learning outcomes. So all the interventions that we do on teachers. So providing them structured pedagogy in the form of lesson plans so that teachers have very straightforward transitions, how to utilize the classroom time, how to effectively manage the classroom, and also deliver on their student learning outcomes. Teacher training is another aspect that Talimabad works on, ताकि हमारी जो teachers हैं वो trained हो, pedagogy पे, general classroom techniques पे, so that learning environments बेहतर हो. You can talk about TCF. TCF does something similar, and they again focus on they focus on student teaching learning materials. They talk about training. You have what else? You have PFL Hub that works on policy level. You have SERP type organizations that are research organizations, but they really focus on what's happening on the ground to bring in the reality. कि जो हम interventions कर रहे हैं या जो कोई भी interventions हो रहे हैं वो actually learning outcomes move हो रहे हैं कि नहीं हो रहे हैं. So there's some really amazing work that's being done throughout, and I've just mentioned a few of them.
Right. So you have mentioned that within the country there are so many startup organizations and edtech companies और बहुत सारे public private engagements भी चल रही हैं, and there are some international organizations as well जो कि World Bank के through, UNICEF के through और बाकी organizations के through उनकी interventions आ रही हैं. But the question still remains there कि अगर इतने ज़्यादा organizations external internal काम कर रहे हैं, so where the problems actually lie कि फिर भी इन सब के बावजूद हमारे पास फिर भी learning poverty is at 77%. So where does the problem lie?
I think that's a very valid question. You do have a lot of international as well as local organizations, but the fact is, Muiz, I really think that we're not doing enough on a policy level, where you're working within the system, you're working with the teachers, you're working in the classroom, you're working on a school system level. But जब तक policies change नहीं होंगी, तब तक उस तरीके से उस पर focus नहीं आ पाएगा. Take the FLN policy. Right. We know for a fact that foundational literacy and numeracy skills really suffer.
Really.
But we had to depend on the policy coming in for the FLN program to kick off so that teachers could prioritize on that. So ये जो interventions हम अभी बात कर रहे थे इससे पहले, ये isolated incidents की तरह हैं.
Right.
क्योंकि teachers को there are so many things incentivize करना पड़ता है. उनके लिए actually you have to make sure that what they're delivering is useful for them. They feel that it's useful for them as well as for the students. So that translates. But to consistently do this, you need policy level work. So I'll give you an example. Zindagi Trust, उन्होंने जो है वो policy level पर ACR पे काम किया है कि teacher trainings पे वो कर रहे थे. उन्होंने जो दूरबीन है उन्होंने like पूरी एक institute लिया जिस पे teacher training हो रही है. But policy level पे जब उन्होंने ACR पे काम किया तो सिंध पे फिर जाकर के there's been a lot of movement because you're incentivizing it at the topmost level. Interventions happen at the bottom level. And I think वो जो एक gap है, maybe that could be one of the reasons. In my head, I think that's one of the major players here कि policy level पे भी काम होना पड़ेगा.
Alright. तो आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग को देखते हुए और आपके एक्सपीरियंस को देखते हुए, क्योंकि आपने बहुत करीब से इन इश्यूज़ को भी देखा है और आपने इन इश्यूज़ और इन इंटरवेंशंस का पार्ट भी रही हैं इनको ठीक करने के लिए, मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है कि इफ़ आई आस्क यू अबाउट सम रिकमेंडेशंस, 2 or 3 recommendations, बट अगर हम उसको थोड़ा सा कंपार्टमेंटलाइज कर लें एंड वी लुक इनटू द करिकुलम इशू, टीचर ट्रेनिंग इश्यूज दैट यू मेंशन्ड, एंड देन monitoring and evaluation, because these 3 are the most important and critical areas जहाँ पे हम अगर काम करें consistently तो हम शायद learning poverty gaps को बहुत कम कर सकते हैं. So what are your recommendations?
Oh, Muiz, this is something that we feel very passionately about. Curriculum changes, the teachers have been demanding this in Pakistan for the longest time. It is just too heavily loaded. When you know that there are foundational literacy gaps, instead of doing everything under the sun at levels that are comparable to international standards. So जहाँ basic numeracy की skill नहीं है, अगर आपने Singaporean curriculum उठा करके इनकलकेट कर दिया है, टीचर कैसे करेगी, राइट? फिर मैं मल्टीग्रेड क्लासरूम्स की बात करी थी. यहाँ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट वन टीचर डीलिंग विद डिफरेंट ग्रेड्स. यू नो इन ईच ग्रेड you have different levels, so just think of the amount of cognitive load on the teacher, let alone the students. Right. So curriculum has to be rethought, in all honesty. It really does, and the focus should be just on basic skills. And if you look at researches that have been done across the world, especially in Africa, in Northern Africa, you do see that those countries that have really reduced their curriculum, focusing on these foundational skills, after 5 years, the dividends were multiple.
Right.
So curriculum एक ऐसी चीज़ है कि टीचर उसी को तो इस्तेमाल करती है. एक साल में बच्चा क्या एक्चुअली पढ़ सकता है और अपना कॉन्टेक्स्ट देख करके इसको एडिट करना ही पड़ेगा. दूसरी आपने बात करिकुलम की बात कही थी, टीचर ट्रेनिंग. टीचर ट्रेनिंग देखिए, एक तो शॉर्टेज वैसे की वैसे ही है. फिर जब लैक ऑफ लाइसेंसिंग है, टीचर्स इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी कि हर टीचर B.Ed M.Ed करके आई हो. फिर उसका स्टैंडर्ड क्या था, उसने किस स्ट्रक्चर में पढ़ा, वो किस तरीके से खुद पढ़ा रही है. फिर इतने सारे इंटरवेंशंस हो रहे हैं. अब डिजिटल एज है मूवीज, यू हैव गॉट टू बी ट्रेन्ड ऑन दैट. इन ऑल ऑनेस्टी, इट्स नॉट समथिंग दैट इज़ वेरी ऑर्गेनिक. तो उस पर बहुत ज़्यादा फोकस करने की ज़रूरत है. लाइक आई सेड कि जैसे नीयत है जो तालीमाबाद का प्रोजेक्ट है, दे डू फोकस ऑन टीचर ट्रेनिंग. जिंदगी ट्रस्ट ने अपना एक पूरा वो किया हुआ है, दूरबीन है, दे एक्चुअली डू फोकस ऑन दीज थिंग्स. TCF ने अपना बड़ा अच्छा वो किया हुआ है. सो आई थिंक टीचर ट्रेनिंग, अगेन, when you are talking about what to cover, the teacher should also know how to do that. You shouldn't just say कि हाँ ठीक है वो पढ़ा रही हैं तो वो कर ही लेंगी. वो कर तो लेती है. In all honesty, teachers are amazing. Exactly. They're the most underappreciated population, in all honesty. Yes. So focusing your efforts and your money on them so that you set them up for success. आप टीचर को सक्सेस के लिए सेटअप करेंगे, वो बच्चों को सेटअप करेगी. Right. So it's not an isolated thing. You've got to think about it on a systemic level. Right. तीसरी चीज़ थी monitoring and evaluation. Okay, now monitoring and evaluation is really important. You're investing so much of money. आपका एक federal budget है, आपका एक national level budget है, फिर you have these organizations that are putting in money, और आप यही कह रहे हैं ना कि जब इतने सारे हैं तो कुछ ना कुछ तो होना चाहिए. उसके लिए हमारी मॉनिटरिंग एंड एवेल्युएशन का जो एक रिगर होना चाहिए वो ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. बिकॉज इट्स नॉट लाइक वी डोंट हैव द मनी, एंड वी आर पुटिंग इन मनी where it should be invested in, but again, actual thorough research level studies being conducted, that's very, very important. But it's also slightly prickly because nobody likes being monitored. When you go into a classroom for an observation, even though it's not an evaluation, teachers do feel that they're just slightly uncomfortable with it. So how do we change that narrative? That monitoring and evaluation is more to do with the environment, how we are investing the money. Yes, the teacher is part of the monitoring, the students are as well, but ये जो एक mindset है, इसका हमें इस पर काम करना पड़ेगा कि you should have third parties doing all of these testing, all of these researches, ताकि studies निकले and you actually know कि अच्छा अगर इतने पैसे जा रहे हैं और इतने सारे interventions हो रहे हैं, you know what's being changed.
Amna, you have provided very thoughtful recommendations. यहाँ पे I am interested to know about हमारे यहाँ बहुत ज़्यादा ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, जैसे मैंने पहले भी इसका जिक्र किया, काम तो कर रहे हैं बट दे आर वर्किंग इन देयर ओन बैरक्स, राइट? तो जिसकी वजह से ये मुमकिन है कि हम जो डिज़ायर्ड रिजल्ट्स हैं हमारे वो हम अचीव नहीं कर पा रहे, और जो रिकमेंडेशंस आपने दिए और उस तक हम पहुंच भी नहीं पा रहे. तो क्या ये वजह तो नहीं है कि हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक अपनी बैरक्स में काम कर रही है? और दूसरी चीज़ ये है, what about joint collaborations, the public-private collaborations and private-private collaborations? इस मेरे ख्याल में जहाँ पे जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस टीचर ट्रेनिंग पे काम कर रही है और जो इदारे करिकुलम पे काम कर रहे हैं और जिनकी इंसाइट्स इन चीज़ों पे ज़्यादा है, सो हाउ अबाउट जॉइंट कोलैबोरेशंस? आपको क्या लगता है इन कोलैबोरेशन से हमें कितना फ़ायदा अचीव हो सकता है?
I think collaboration is key to success.
Yeah.
It's one of the 21st century skills as well, and there's a reason for that. It's really needed. जहाँ आप partnerships की बात कर रहे हैं, I think we are at that junction where everybody is open to doing that because they understand what's at stake. Pakistan at the end of the day has declared an education emergency, and it's very important to know that it's an alarming situation and everybody is trying to come together. मैं किसी और की नहीं, मैं अगर तालीमाबाद की बात करूँ, so we're really open to partnering up with different organizations. हमने SERP के साथ काम किया हुआ है, हम जो हैं वो अब ऑक्सब्रिज के साथ, DIL के साथ, TFP जो टीचर्स प्रोवाइड करते हैं स्कूल्स के अंदर, यू नो वी डू वर्क विद देम. PFL हब के जो इन्होंने FLN पॉलिसी निकाली है, इट्स नॉट दैट we're working, or not everybody is working in silos. Yes, to an extent it does happen, but you have to understand कि जब आप इन organizations पे जब आप intervention कर रहे होते हैं, you have a research, you have an experiment, and then you have to scale it up. And in order to scale up that one experiment that could have been really successful in that particular circumstance, there's a lot of red tape and bureaucracy that's involved as well. तो इसीलिए आई थिंक मे बी दैट्स अ लैग देयर कि जब आप सक्सेसफुल एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कर रहे हैं, जब आप इतनी सारी इंटरवेंशंस कर रहे हैं, बट जब उसको स्केल करना होता है नेशन वाइड, आई थिंक दैट्स अ ह्यूज चैलेंज, स्पेसिफिकली बिकॉज प्रोविंसेस से कि हमारी अपनी पॉलिसीज़ हैं, यू नो इट्स वर्क दैट वी आर ओपन टू डू दैट, बट अगेन रेड टेप बहुत ज़्यादा है. आई थिंक कोलैबोरेशन इज़ the name of the game. It's very, very important that we all work together, just so that there is no duplication of efforts.
Right.
I do know for a fact that in Pakistan, all of these organizations, most of them at least, are quite open to collaborating with each other because nobody wants to do duplication of efforts. The organizations that we were talking about, more often than not in Taleemabad, we do have queries coming and going. We're reaching out to them, they're reaching out to us, and everybody is realizing that we have to work together. PFL हब ने इतनी ज़्यादा FLN पॉलिसी पर काम किया, उन्होंने साइलों पे नहीं काम किया. They brought in all of the relevant stakeholders together,
Right.
forced dialogue together, and then moved on. NCC में जब भी आप curriculum change की बात करते हैं, I think that's something that we touched
Right,
upon earlier. So they bring in a vast amount of stakeholders, different stakeholders from different walks, all relevant, ताकि हम साथ बैठ कर के जो change ला रहे हैं, अगर हमें nation wide जाना है, so we all have to work together. So yes, I agree, collaboration is very, very important, but you also have to keep in mind that when you are doing a research based intervention, you come out with the study that's perfect, you do move outcomes for sure. Teachers भी बहुत ज़्यादा कभी कभार उन interventions को like करती हैं, but जब आपको scale up करना होता है on a nationwide level, that is where problems occur, क्योंकि red tape बहुत ज़्यादा है, bureaucracy बहुत ज़्यादा चीज़ है, and again because all of our provinces have their own educational policies, it does take time. So it's not that it doesn't happen, but it's just that जितनी जल्दी हम research और experiments कर रहे हैं, उस तरीके से हम scale up नहीं कर पा रहे हैं.
All right. So these answers are very insightful and very helpful. So now we are at the very interesting part of our podcast. It's a rapid fire section. I will ask you some short questions and you are supposed to give me answers in 1 or 2 words, like,
Okay.
right? My first question is that tell me about one book that you think every teacher in Pakistan needs to read.
Okay, Moise, I think something that really helped me and something that I have always recommended to my teacher friends was Teach Like a Champ 3.0. It's the third edition.
All right.
I think every teacher should definitely have a look. It's invaluable. The things that they talk about in the book, you really have very solid takeaways.
All right. My second question is that what is that one inspiring story that you want to tell the people?
So when you work in edtechs, you come with your own preconceived notions most of the time. When you work with teachers, obviously you're putting in an intervention. It's very difficult for teachers to get onboarded, for you to implement your study the way that you had designed it or you had thought about. There was one particular teacher in Balochistan, and we were talking to her about her classroom practices, and how does she manage a classroom that had over 100 children. Moise, there was one teacher who was working with more than 100 children, and she had no resources. And then she was telling us how she used to teach math using pebbles, क्योंकि उनके जो स्कूल था उसमें टेबल्स भी नहीं थी, कुर्सियाँ भी नहीं थी. बच्चे जो थे, कुछ बच्चे चटाई पर बैठते थे, वरना तो वो नीचे फर्श पे बैठे होते थे. और मैथ पढ़ाने के लिए क्योंकि बच्चों को मैनिपुलेटिव्स की ज़रूरत होती थी, सो इंस्टेड ऑफ गोइंग वेरी वेरी हाई टेक, इंस्टेड ऑफ यूजिंग ऑल ऑफ दोज मैनिपुलेटिव्स दैट वी यूज, it was a simple exercise of taking the children outside, collecting pebbles and sticks, and doing the tally marks. I think that was something that was so amazing. And these are the type of stories that really help you continue doing what you're doing, because there are so many inspiring teachers. Because क्या है, ज़रूरत इजाद की अम्मा होती है, right? And these are the things that come up.
Right. So my third question is that if one thing that you could change in next 24 hours, what would it be?
I think we need regular classroom routines.
Right.
If teachers are able to, on a public sector level, if teachers are able to just consistently do something so that children understand what is expected out of them, I am telling you, classroom environments really change. मोटी बात नहीं करती कि differentiation होना चाहिए, सारे बच्चों को cater करना चाहिए. All of those things for sure. अगर in the next 24 hours इतनी emergency लगी है, तो सिर्फ consistency. As human beings, you just want consistency. You should know what's expected.
Right.
It makes life so much easier.
Right. I have one fill in the blanks for you.
Okay.
Education in Pakistan will improve when?
Inshallah soon.
All right. By when I mean when, what will happen?
When we all come together and decide from top to bottom and bottom to top where our priorities actually lie. So it's not just working at the top level, policy level, या सिर्फ classroom के level पर. We've got to enable the whole system in place.
All right. Thank you, Amna. This was very wonderful discussion, and I'm so pleased that you joined me for this wonderful discussion. And I will be calling you again and again on such issues. Thank you.
Moise, this was amazing. I had so much of fun.
Thank you.
This was really enlightening. Thank you for calling me.
Thank you.
I had a lot of fun here.
You are most welcome.